every day because we're trucking the truth. Hey, joining us now is Kyle Shreve. Kyle is currently the Director of Government Affairs for the Virginia Retail Merchants Association. Now, prior to joining the Virginia Retail Merchants Association, I like that name because I like merchants, Kyle served as manager of legislative affairs for the International Dairy Foods Association. This guy's a food guy, covering both state and federal affairs. And, of course, with all the food laws going on, that was a pretty good job. Now, he does policy analysis. He drafts congressional testimony, issue advocacy. He's an all-around guy. And we want to talk to him about this crazy joint employer ruling that the NLRB does, the National Labor Relations Board, that basically Barack Obama has turned into his basic arm of the Obama KGB out there. Hey, Kyle, good to have you with us, man.
Good morning, John. Thanks for having me.
So, break this down. The National Labor Relations Board was set up so that there were fair labor practices. And now it's turned into this arm of Obama's bureaucratic advocacy group. And they came down with this crazy ruling the other day that's going to affect about 28 million small businesses. And they came down with this ruling that basically said that you now have joint employers, that if you're a franchisee, they're the employer, you're the owner, you're the employer. What's all this mean?
You're exactly right. The National Labor Relations Board has gone way overboard with this rule. It was a decision. It's called the Browning-Ferris decision, where they said the company Browning-Ferris had control, indirect control of an agency, a temp agency that they were using to fill one of their facilities. It overturned about 30 years of employment law. The key word here is uncertainty. We really, it's creating havoc in the business world. And it's not just a franchisor relationship, leasing, if you're leasing a building, any contract work that you have, and retail is one of the top industries that use these contract workers for security, for janitorial and maintenance staff, temporary and seasonal help around now. Black Friday just came and went, and we're getting ready for the Christmas season. They use temp agencies to help fill extra workers for their for the increased sales that are going on now. And all those are usually run through another agency that sets their schedules and everything of when they're going to be where. And so they really don't have a whole lot of control at all. But this is a huge coordinated effort nationally, not just here in Virginia, but we're seeing it here in Virginia now that allows labor to have a heck of a lot more control over your business, and it's incredibly hard, especially for the small business owners out there.
We understand that a lot of the rulings that come down from Obama's bureaucratic arms, and that's really what a lot of these things have turned out to be, whether it's the NLRB or the or the Federal Communications Commission or the EPA. Normally what Obama is doing is he's paying back one group and punishing an enemy, right? I mean, that's just fact, okay? I'm not making this up. So when you look at the NLRB rulings, Kyle, what is the objective here? I mean, this particular one, I mean, some people have to sit down and there's got to be an objective, okay? This is what we're trying to accomplish and why. What is it?
It's really in order to give workers bigger bargaining power with larger corporations. So one of the reasons why this affects franchises so much is normally there's a local business owner, and they're the ones that you deal with for your employment. And really the only reason they contract out with the corporate office and the corporate headquarters is to use their name and some of their price schedules in order to market your business. But you are essentially the owner of that small business. It takes some of the risk out of things. So labor unions do not want to bargain with one owner. There's not a whole lot of money there. If it's a smaller business like that, they want to go after the larger corporation. And so in order to have this, now that they are joint employers, the large national corporation is now responsible for your employees as a franchisor relationship. And so that's their main goal. It's so that if there is a labor complaint about a local owner, local franchisee, it's not just them that are liable for those wages, it's the national office. And it's going to make it very difficult to open a new franchise and have a small local business owner open a business with that kind of contract, because the national office, as a national corporation, if you're one of the larger franchise corporations, why would you take that risk? You're going to have so much paperwork. You have to have so much more local control over these, so that you're not liable for any mistakes that are made at that level. It really makes the risk of opening a franchise that harder, not much harder. And so that's their goal. It is really to help big labor continue to go after the national groups at the local level.
So look, but at the end of the day, it's almost like the minimum wage argument. I mean, you raise the minimum wage, you want to go, what is it now, $7.75? It's been raised in certain states like New York to $15 an hour, whatever the number is. So all that does is eliminate jobs, right? I mean, that's at the bottom line. This is another thing that eliminates jobs. Obama came in and said, I'm going to create jobs. And this is another policy that eliminates jobs because people, there's a risk ratio factor, Kyle, right?
Correct.
So I'm not going to...
You're exactly right.
Yeah, so I'm not going to make that risk to create new jobs when I can get sued and lose millions. So I just don't create the jobs, and I go about my business.
That's right.
It's the bottom line.
You had Lori on, the small business owner, on Wednesday. She did an excellent job of breaking down. We're seeing this over and over again with this overtime rule from the Department of Labor, where it's raising the salary of people that are exempt from the overtime rules. You're going to have to start paying your salaried workers that don't make over, I think it's $52,000 overtime. A lot of businesses can't afford this, so you're actually going to have an uncomfortable conversation with people who are salaried, who've worked hard to get on to salaried positions, that you're going to have to move them back to hourly work now because they can't afford to deal with these regulations over and over again.
It doesn't make any sense.
And we see them coming down the line a lot. And it's just one more thing that business has to deal with. It's hard enough and profit margins, especially in retail, profit margins are slim in some of these industries, very slim. You're lucky if you're pulling 1% to 2% profit, and the more and more you eat up, these things that eat up that profit margin, the harder it is to stay in business.
Well, not only that, Kyle Shreve, of the Director of Government Affairs for the Virginia Retail Merchants Association, with us, Kyle. Not only that, but you're getting in between. As Lori was saying, you're getting in between. The government's getting in between yourself and your manager. I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, there's a certain set of rules for hourly workers, and there's a minimum wage, and there's certain restrictions you have to have. But if you offer somebody a management position and they decide to take that because they want it on their resume, they want the experience, they want to be able to move up, they need that, and so they're going to put more hours in. And on an hourly basis, they might actually go down per hour, but they're making that decision to make that trade-off for a longer-term gain, right? Yep. That's their decision, because somebody could come to me, I'm working 50 hours a week, I'm getting $13 an hour, so I'm making, $650 a week, and, my owner comes to me and says, look, I love what you're doing, I love you're aggressive, I think you got potential. I want to groom you. I want you to be my store manager of this particular store. It's a $39,000 job, so you're going to get a little bit more money. But look, you're opening, you're closing, you're there on weekends. You're going to work a lot more hours. So if you do the math, maybe my hourly wage went from $13 to $10.50, but I've made that decision. That's my decision. I want to be a manager. I want it on my resume. I want the experience. I want to be mentored. I want to learn so that maybe I can go be a department store manager with Macy's at $90,000 someday. That's my decision. Why is the government involved in that?
You got me. I mean, that's what we're facing with all the time, and it's a constant, and it's coming from a lot of different areas. With this, with the new joint employer rule, one of the ways in which they have discussed enforcing it is using the OSHA, Occupational Safety and Hazard Administration, to, while they're doing their safety inspections, start questioning employees about their about employment. Their employment practices, and that's the way they're going to report. They figure they have the inspector there already anyways, they might as well have them enforce both. So now you have, you have someone coming in to inspect your facility or whatever on safety matters, and the next thing you know, you've got employment trouble. And so it just, that's one of the concerns we have, that our members have to look out for now going forward. And so it's incredibly tough on business in an already tough business environment. And one thing we are pushing, the Congress can act to stop this. It's called the Protecting Local Business Opportunity Act, which we are supporting here at VRMA and others around the country are, in order to go back to the way it has worked for the last 30 years. And it has served local businesses and employees well for 30 years, and they overturned it in one fell swoop.
Kyle, who in Congress is sponsoring that?
In the Senate, it's Lamar Alexander from Tennessee, and in the House, it is Congressman Klein from Minnesota.
Klein from Minnesota.
Yeah, there are a bunch of other co-sponsors, but those are the two main co-sponsors. It's Senate Bill 2015 and House Resolution 3459.
Yep. Right now, back with Kyle Shreve, the Director of Government Affairs for the Virginia Retail Merchants Association. Hey, by the way, Kyle, Terry McAuliffe said he wants a corporate tax cut. What do you think of that?
We appreciate it. The other important thing he said is he wants to take as many retailers as he can out of the accelerated sales tax program, which has been a big problem for a lot of our small and medium-sized members as well. So we welcome that announcement with open arms.
If he wasn't so partisan and his staff was not, the staff hates Republicans, it's so ridiculous. This guy could be a great governor. I mean, I'm telling you, he could be a great governor. Okay, I got 20 seconds. People want to take action. What do they do?
The big question now on this bill, the Protecting Local Business Opportunity Act, is going to be in the Senate. Write Senators Kane and Warner and tell them to support and talk to their Democratic colleagues over there that this is really going to harm their local business and their small business.
Call your senators and
that's right. Tell them to support S 2015. House members as well.
Kyle,
both
we're
House
out of time. We're out of time. We'll have you back. Senate Bill 2015. That's Kyle Shreve,